I'm being told we have breaking news.
Marshon Lattimore, he now goes from the New Orleans Saints to the Washington Commanders.
The Lions are acquiring former Pro Bowl defensive end Za'Darius Smith.
It's being reported now that they are getting Tre'Davious White from the Rams. What does that do?
Oh, wow, that's big.
Mike Williams is heading to Pittsburgh.
The Packers are getting Preston Smith the Steelers are getting Preston Smith from the Packers.
The NFL trade deadline has come to pass, and there was a lot of movement down to the wire. This is really turning into a fun day on the NFL calendar. While DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, and even Deontay Johnson were moved over the past few weeks, we saw Za'Darius Smith, Marshon Lattimore, Baron Browning, Mike Williams, Trey White, Khalil Herbert, and more all get dealt on this Super Tuesday. The Cowboys, though, well, they came out on bottom. No, I'm not making another broke-back bottom joke here for the Cowboys. I used that in the Week 9 recap. Obviously, though, a bunch of NFL contenders made a final push to take their roster to the next level for the remainder of the 2024 season. So let's break down which moves will make the biggest impact. Breaking, YouTube has decided to trade me to Threads. To Threads for a 7th rounder. What did I do, YouTube? Winners of We Can Fix Anyone, the Steelers, who are 2 games into the Russell Wilson era and have made multiple moves at the trade deadline. They gave Russell Wilson a new weapon, moderately used weapon in receiver Mike Williams, and also made a bit of a surprising trade with the Packers for edge rusher Preston Smith. Now, I think the Mike Williams pickup was a good addition for the Steelers. He was clearly not vibing with Aaron Rodgers, which means he'll probably be a perfect fit for Russell Wilson. You know what they say, polar opposites attract injury-prone receivers who, when healthy, are tremendous talents on the field. Russell Wilson loves a good straight-line jump ball receiver, and that's exactly what Mike Williams does best. With the injury to rookie Roman Wilson's hamstring, this is the Steelers just trying to stay afloat while they are atop the AFC North. Winners, also the Packers. Now, this is Preston Smith's 10th NFL season. His production was declining significantly this year, and in chatting with Tom Grossi through the season, it was clear the Packers wanted to get rid of Smith. Now, they only get a 7th rounder for him, but this move will free up a nice amount of cap space for the Packers over the next 4 seasons. Also, they dump a 31-year-old player, which gets them back down to being one of the youngest rosters in the league, as they try to make a push for Leo DiCaprio to root for their team. While his 3 sacks this season are respectable, he's generated just 10 quarterback pressures. Smith now joins the Steelers in a nice group of edge rushers and TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig, who should return from injury at some point soon. Highsmith and Herbig have dealt with injuries all season, so Smith feels like a depth piece and or a situational edge rusher. Losers? Every team that traded with the Chiefs, who are clearly winners. Big winners. I think it might be time to investigate the Chiefs, though, because I'm 99% sure they have some kind of blackmail on the Titans and Patriots. That's the only way I can rationalize them actively making an undefeated team in the NFL better.
Still doesn't feel real just yet. It'll hit me soon, though.
The Patriots couldn't get more than a 6th-round pick for Josh Uche. The Titans received a conditional 5th-round pick that becomes a 4th if KC reaches the Super Bowl for DeAndre Hopkins. Imagine rooting for a team in your own conference to get to the Super Bowl because you negotiate with terrorists. Any team that makes deals with Kansas City should be investigated by Homeland Security and then sent to Guantanamo Bay. I'll give Bush a 3rd term just to make that shit right. As much as I hate it, I have to applaud Kansas City for not letting off the throttle after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. They're not fucking around. Hopkins was a huge reason they won on Monday Night Football, and I guarantee we see Josh Uche have a multi-sack game down the stretch here. Plus, they're going to get Isaiah Pacheco back soon and Hollywood Brown for the playoffs. Hey, if you want to cast a vote that matters, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you want to support this show, you can do it by signing up at Underdog with my code That'sGood. Underdog is my favorite place to play daily fantasy or in pick'em games. They have been massive supporters of this show, of this channel. I want to keep rocking with them, but we gotta show them that we can get those 10,000 signups. Just do it with my code or link in the description. The Bengals are winners because they're actually in it. They're making moves to compete and they've got a chance. They traded for Khalil Herbert, getting help at the running back position, adding a player who didn't really fit in Shane Waldron's offense in Chicago. This is an interesting move with Chase Brown coming off a career game for Cincinnati, but maybe a necessity for a team one game out of the wild card with the news of running back Zach Moss heading to IR with a neck injury. I am happy to see Herbert get a chance to run for any team besides the Chicago Bears, where he did average 5.7 and 4.6 yards per carry the last 2 seasons. The Buffalo Bills, neither winners nor losers, to be determined. Amari Cooper, his trade to the Bills after week 6 seemed like a big win. He's played in 2 games and has caught 5 passes for 69 yards, nice, and 1 touchdown. He missed last week though with the wrist injury. Keon Coleman now has a wrist injury, and Christian Benford missed the last game as well with a wrist injury. What the fuck's going on in Buffalo? Football is a weird game in terms of injuries, but I've never seen 3 guys all suffer wrist injuries at the same time, especially when a circle jerk was not involved. Now, I do think Cooper, despite the low numbers, has been beneficial when on the field for the Bills, but until he's healthy, we're in limbo now as we try and evaluate this acquisition. With Hopkins coming off a massive primetime performance, it feels like the Bills targeted the wrong guy. I know, risk it, but you might still get a biscuit. The Cardinals, who traded for edge defender Baron Browning. If Baron Browning can stay healthy, which is a big if, the Cardinals got a steal, sending just a 6th rounder to the Broncos. The Cardinals did have 16 different players get a pressure on Caleb Williams last week, and now they have a chance for 17. Arizona is surprisingly in the driver's seat in the NFC West, and I like that they're buying at the deadline. Why the hell not? Browning has put up some insane flashes on tape when he's on the field. He was set to be a free agent after this season, which is why Denver let him go. The Broncos also gave Jonathan Cooper a 4-year, $60 million extension at edge. A great payday for one of the unsung heroes on the Broncos defense this season. I love the extension for Cooper, and am also sad we didn't get to finish what we started with Baron Browning. Take care of him, Arizona. Breaking even, the Lions, who traded for Za'Darius Smith after being teased with Max Crosby and Myles Garrett trade rumors, Dan Campbell jumping up and down like an excited little girl.
Yeah, could be.
Settling for Za'Darius Smith feels almost like a letdown. Smith, though, gets a huge upgrade. He leaves a bad Browns team who exclusively employs quarterbacks with multiple sexual assault allegations against them for Jared Goff, a man whose biggest crime was stopping people from beating Goff. Now, Za'Darius Smith has 26 pressures this season, 1 more than active team leader Aleem McNeil, who is an interior defensive player. 26 pressures is a modest number, but it's a big improvement over the 9 Josh Paschal currently has from the edge. Smith will now have played for every NFC North team except the Bears. As long as Smith finds a way to get to opposing quarterbacks while exposing his midriff, this is a big win for all of us, isn't it, guys? Losers, the Ravens. Ultimately, they traded for receiver Deontay Johnson and corner Trey White. Baltimore should have been all in for Marshawn Lattimore and nobody else. Their secondary is what has been struggling. They really do not need Deontay Johnson on the field. And if Sean McVay is willing to deal Trey White plus a 7th round pick in exchange for just a 7th round pick, I don't know how much he adds at this point in his career. It's unfortunate because in his prime, Trey White was an amazing corner for the Bills, but injuries ruined that once great trajectory. He tore his Achilles last season, so maybe once he's fully healthy, he can be the Trey White who played so well with the Bills, but he's now had 2 Sean Micks pass on him. However, if he picks off Mahomes in the postseason, I will happily stand corrected, and he'll no longer have to try and cheat to look at the Ravens play sheet. Last week, they did bring in Deontay Johnson after seeing their receivers drop some crucial passes in the loss to the Browns. It turns out that Zay Flowers turned into Jerry Rice against the Denver Broncos. But now, Flowers and Johnson give Jackson a more reliable option than Rashad Bateman, who had a nice game against the Broncos as well. A bit of a luxury addition and an injury insurance policy. Winners, the Jets, Devontae Adams, and a better late than never Hassan Reddick. Now, I did a deep dive into the Jets already in this video, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but the Jets may have turned the corner. Adams had 91 yards and a touchdown in his second game with Aaron Rodgers. Reddick generated a season-high 8 pressures for the team after getting traded to them this offseason and then refusing to play for 7 fucking weeks. I'm not sold that this team, who was in utter turmoil less than a week ago, will rise from the ashes, but it's going to be wildly entertaining if they do, and they have the talent to make it work. My biggest winner, corner, Marshawn Lattimore. He got the perfect flopping of his team record, going from 2-7 to 7-2. That's like waking up and discovering your inverted penis is now on par with Lexington Steel. Oh, and I guess the Commanders adding a really nice corner to their secondary also makes them winners. I do need to give the Saints some love too. Thank you, New Orleans. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for not trading a very good corner to the Chiefs, who according to all reports really wanted Marshawn Lattimore. This move even got the Pope's blessing. He officially hashtagged the Saints, saying, "The Saints are precious pearls and are always living and relevant because they provide a fascinating commentary on the gospel. Their lives are an illustration of the good news that Jesus brought to humanity. God is our Father, who loves everyone with boundless love." Is Marshawn Lattimore still good? Yes, very good. He hasn't allowed a touchdown since 2021, when Sean Payton was his head coach. Mike Evans hated his guts, and I can't wait to see Lattimore get into it with A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb. I'd say Malik Neighbors, but we know he won't be getting any targets consistently until 2026. Washington's pass defense has been pretty good. They allow the 5th fewest yards per game, but have allowed 14 touchdowns, which is 12th worst. Maybe a lockdown corner like Lattimore can help them shore up a run defense allowing 5.1 yards per carry, which is 2nd worst in the league right now. The Commanders get a 5th round pick with Lattimore, and they send over a 3rd, 4th, and future 6th round pick to the Saints. Washington utilized some of the draft capital they received in the Jahan Dotson trade to make this happen, and I love the all-in approach the Commanders are taking while starting a rookie quarterback. It's almost like too many good things are happening for the Commanders right now. Like, I kind of don't trust how well things are going. When is something bad gonna ruin it all for Commanders fans? And my biggest losers? How about them Cowboys? Yeah, Jerry Jones. The Cowboys spent more in draft capital to acquire receiver Jonathan Mingo than they got back for trading away Amari Cooper. The Cowboys reportedly liked Mingo in the draft, and to no one's surprise, they spent way more than they needed to acquire him, shipping Carolina a 4th rounder and getting a 7th back. The Cowboys are the only team to make a trade to acquire a player who have no chances of making the postseason. Jonathan Mingo has a receiving grade in the 0 percentile. That's not a misprint, 0 percentile. As fans, when we see a player have, say, a terrible game, we will jokingly say, "Damn it, put me out there. I could get sacked 9 times and make $40 million. Well, coach, put me in the slot and I guarantee you I can give you a 0 percentile ranking as a receiver. Guys, I can literally do this play." Now, to make matters worse, Dallas released corner Andrew Booth, presumably to make room for Mingo. Booth has only played in 38 snaps this season, so the release isn't really a big deal until you remember that they fucking traded for Booth before the season. It gets worse, Dallas. Not only are you giving up draft capital for a player that probably won't help you at all, Dak Prescott slated to miss at least 4 games with his hamstring injury, and the other quarterback that you traded for, Trey Lance, might get some, quote, gadget plays. You traded for a backup quarterback who you aren't even confident to start now that Dak has gone down? What are you doing, Jerry? it's time to step aside, my friend. You're ruining your own team. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, at BrandonPernaX, whatever the fuck it is. If you want to follow me there, or Instagram, Twitter, Instagram, at BrandonPerna. That's my name.